I do want to head out west because the biggest storyline during the week after Jimbo Fisher got fired, dust settled, reports started to emerge that Chip Kelly was going to be fired as head coach of UCLA following the USC game. Well, I don't know if people watched the USC-UCLA game, and even Dan Mullen fired it out on Twitter. He's like, are we sure we have the right coach on the hot seat
way to go,
in LA?
Dan.
I mean, USC 7-5 with top 3 talent, with one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in college. They got absolutely pummeled this week and pretty much the rest of the back half of the season. What a disaster for Lincoln Riley in year 2.
I don't know when I've seen a worse coaching job by anyone than Lincoln Riley this year. It's a complete disaster, and quite frankly, he ought to pack up. I don't know. I don't really see what his path is moving forward. He blamed everything on Alex Grinch. They haven't been any better. They've been worse. I mean, maybe Lincoln, you ought to look in the mirror. Maybe you're just a total fraud as a coach. Maybe you just lived off of a couple of Heisman winners. And what Oklahoma did for you, and all the people in Oklahoma who were heartbroken 2 years ago and who never thought they'd get over that blow off, they're over it now, because Lincoln Riley is nowhere near the coach that we all collectively tried to make him out to be. And have you ever seen a college season ruin more than what Lincoln Riley did for Caleb Williams? I said this a year ago right here, that I thought it was really a shame that Bryce Young had such a terrible senior, final year. It wasn't his senior year, but it was his final year. He lost 2 games. What I should have said is, what a terrible rookie season he's having in the NFL. But I did. But I mean, Caleb, you have a generational quarterback, and you finished 7-5.
They were 11-1 last year and hit the portal harder than anyone, as hard as anyone, and brought in talent. I mean, they were loaded. And if you would have asked me, hey, Matt, what's the worst record Lincoln will have this year? I'd say, well, I think they're a playoff caliber team. They were 11-1 last year, added talent. I'd say maybe 11-1, 10-2 is the worst they could go, but that's if Caleb get hurt. You couldn't have bet me $1 million that 7-5 was even in the cards. 7-5 and non-competitive is where we're at with USC, and that honeymoon's done, because now you're going to the Big Ten, and if you look at the big picture of the Big Ten, you've got more physical players in the Big Ten. That's just obvious. You've got bad weather in the Big Ten that you're going to have to contend with, and oh, by the way, you've got Ohio State, Michigan. And even right now, I would take Penn State. You know my feelings on Penn State over USC. Absolutely. So you're looking at a conference you used to dominate. It's a whole different ball game now for Lincoln Riley and USC.
Yeah, it's absurd. I can't really add anything to what I've said.
No, you've said quite enough. So look, end of the day, we're going to the final weekend of the college football season, which is crazy. A lot of rivalries coming up next weekend, starting Thursday with the Egg Bowl, going through Sunday. This is going to be a fascinating watch, as we always do. We will bring it for you here on the ESPN College Football YouTube channel. For Paul Finebaum, I'm Matt Barrie. This is the Matt Barrie Show and your weekly Sunday recap.
Give me something I can feel. Light a cigarette just so I can breathe.